Happy Saturday, my lovelies. As you can probably tell, this is not a holders video, and I'm sure a lot of you were expecting a holders video today, so we're both just gonna be disappointed, okay? No, I figured it had been, a good probably like 7 to 8 months since I've done a vlog, and I spent a lot of time thinking about what super awesome topic I would make the vlog about, and then I realized I don't do that. So, what I'm going to do today instead is I'm going to share a super awesome, embarrassing story from my past. Because let's be honest, that sounds a lot more fun than the airplane flying over my apartment complex right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like we're under attack or something. No. Anyway, our super fun, pre-MissShadowLovely story. Now, at the time, I was still making videos. It wasn't that long ago, actually. Anyway, so buckle up, because this is just gonna be a super exciting Saturday for you. I guess I should start by prefacing this story with saying that I was 17 at the time, which that wasn't that long ago, so it doesn't really excuse my actions in any way. But I was 17 and I didn't know a whole lot about makeup. I wasn't like the most girly 17-year-old, but I was trying to be. I was learning more about myself as a person, and etc, etc. Anyway, you don't care. Let's start this story off by saying, at the time I worked at my first pharmacy job. I worked at the local pharmacy in my little tiny hometown of like 400 people, and I was working the counter one day, and this lady comes in, and I'm just sitting there drawing in my sketchbook, doing whatever I used to do at the pharmacy when there was nothing going on, and she goes, you've got some really pretty eyes. You should try this makeup line. And I'm like, sure, that sounds awesome. Thanks for the compliment. And so she's like, we're having a little private party type thing at this community center in like a day. Do you want to go? Etc, etc. Anyway, I somehow, don't know how, I guess I'm just really good at persuading, got my mom and my sister to go with me to this private party. I guess I shouldn't list probably company names. That's probably a no-no in the YouTube world, so I'm not going to say what makeup line it is, but if you've ever bought makeup, you know what I'm talking about. It was not a party. It was a I'm gonna sell you stuff thing. So, we showed up, anyway, they put a bunch of makeup on us, said, hey, you look really good, hey, buy all this stuff. And we're like, sure, whatever. So anyway, the lady who got me to go, her manager was there. And her manager is like, hey, you look awesome in our makeup. In like 3 weeks, like at a place 100 miles from here, there's gonna be this millionaire who's like one of the CEOs of this company that you just bought makeup from, gonna be at this little like speaky thing, and we think it would be awesome if you went and wore some of our makeup there, and showed it off and stuff, and got some free things, and it's gonna be fun. Okay, now I know up until this part of the story it's been super boring, but bear with me, it gets so much better, because I'm an idiot, and I decided, sure, I would love to go on a 200 to 300 mile trip with someone that I've never met before to some really shady makeup convention. That sounds awesome. Let's do it. Again, I was 17. So 3 weeks pass. Up until this point, every single day, my mother is like, you don't even wear makeup. Like, why are you going to this thing? Like, you don't know that person. You don't enjoy wearing makeup. Like, what are you doing? I don't know why I decided to go, to be completely honest. I really don't know what decision-making process led up to that choice. But this is where the story starts to get fun. I decided to go. So, I meet up with this manager lady, at the same community center at like 6 o'clock in the evening on a Friday. I am just super dressed up. I am wearing like super high heels and a super hot dress, and I look fantastic. I have all my own makeup on, which I don't know why I did that. I don't know, but I showed up, and everyone else who was riding with us was like, ooh, when I walked in. Like, everyone was like, ooh, like, super excited, because I looked awesome. Anyway, that didn't last long. I should probably now interject into this story that earlier in the day, again, keep in mind, I worked at a pharmacy. I still work at a pharmacy. I worked in another pharmacy. And every so often we'd have products that were getting ready to expire and the employees would get them. I'm not talking like prescription medicine because that's illegal. I'm talking like over-the-counter things. So, there was a box of, I don't know if you know what Metamucil is. If you don't, this would be a good time to pause the video and go Google it. We had Metamucil cookies. Whoever thought those were a good idea is an idiot. Anyway, I'm even more of an idiot because I ate 3 of them earlier of the day of this convention thing. So, let's just keep that in the back of your mind because the story's gonna get better. So, anyway, show up. This lady's like, okay, let's go, everyone pack into my truck and we're gonna go to some unknown area like 3 hours from here that none of you know how to get to or back from. Let's do it. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. This sounds terrible, but let's do it. We get there. Okay, first of all, there was like an awesome, awkward, like 3-hour car ride of just total silence. Not to mention, again, I was the youngest there by like 30 years. Me just sitting in between 2 people I've never met before, like, I hope we get there soon. Then we got there. This is the best part. We walk in the door, and it's in this big, giant office building, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could just go home. This is already super boring. We get there, and the whole, like, top floor has been cleared out with all these rooms, all these offices cleared out for this weird convention-y thing. So, we get in there, and the lady splits us into groups, and she's like, do you guys want to be makeup, facials, or whatever the last thing was? It was like nail art or something. I don't even remember. I didn't even get a choice. I was ushered immediately into the makeup room. And I'm like, neat. And so they rushed us and me and like a bunch of there were also other groups of people arriving just like my group was. They ushered all the ones who chose makeup or who were selected to be in the makeup room, ushered us all in there. And it was a big studio with, like, windows on either side, or mirrors. I wish there was windows, I would have jumped out of one. Mirrors on either side and chairs sitting up like a makeup studio, like a big makeup studio, and they all put us in a chair. And they're like, okay, we're going to be passing out a little magazine thing with 3 different palettes of makeup, pick the one that you want. I'm the last person in the line, and by the time they get to me, no one has picked the edgy rock star look. So it gets defaulted to me. They're like, no one has this one, you get it. And I'm like, sure, I don't care. So I'm sitting there, 17 years old, sitting all by myself, like 4 hours from home, no idea who any of the people in the room with me are. They hand me a palette of makeup. Again, at that time, I didn't know how to apply makeup, like at all. I knew mascara, done, game over. So they hand me this whole palette of little sample tubes of this colored makeup palette or whatever. And everyone else's are like breezy summer look, and it's like nude colored like eyeshadows and stuff and like a light eyeliner, and edgy rock star look apparently means Marilyn Manson's makeup bag, because all I got was like bright red lipstick, blue, pink, and black eyeshadow, bright red blush, and like some other ridiculous colors. So there's a lady like perusing the room. She's like, you have 15 minutes to apply it. And I'm like, awesome. And then she's like, and then you're gonna walk down the runway and model it for our CEO. And I'm like, cool, awesome, sweet. I don't know how to do this. Cool. So I'm sitting there and I'm just looking at the makeup like, I have no idea what to do with any of this. And so I just start doing what I do know. You know, I'm putting on the face. First of all, I had to take off all my makeup. And that didn't come all the way off because they only gave me 1 alcohol wipe thing. So I still have some of my makeup on, which was poorly applied, let's be honest. Then I get to the eye palette thing. I have no idea how to eyeshadow. I still, to this day, don't have a great grasp of how to apply eyeshadow. So, again, the colors were pink, blue, and black. And so I'm like, I don't know how this works. So I flag down the lady who's perusing the room, and I'm like, hey, what order do these go in on my eye? Does it go from top to bottom? Do I put the pink on the top and the blue and then the black around the eye? And she goes, no, that's backwards. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is I'm gonna have the pink on here, then the blue, and then black around my eye. And she's like, yeah, no, that's right. And I'm like, I don't believe you, but I'm not the one who works in the makeup industry, so sure. So I sit there, and I do exactly as I was told. You know, pink on the lid, and then blue around that, and then a nice circle of black outlining my entire eye, like a raccoon. So that looked bad enough, and the whole time I'm just looking in the mirror like, this doesn't look quite right. But she told me that this is how it goes, so I'm gonna do it. Keep in mind, I'm just gonna bring back to the forefront of your memory Metamucil wafers. At that point, they were kicking in. And I don't know if you guys have ever used any kind of fiber supplement. I wasn't actually expecting these to be fiber supplements. I thought they were just like healthy cookies. They destroy your intestinal tract because they basically clear out everything in your colon and your intestines. So by this point, everything that I had eaten for the last like 4 weeks was on a fast track out of my body. And what that meant was there was a traffic jam on the highway, and at this point I was starting to get a little bit of moderate cramping and a little bit of bloating. And keep in mind, I'm also wearing a skin-tight fabric dress. It was very form-fitting, and high heels. So keep that in mind, let that start brewing for you. So at this point, I look like I've been in a fight with Mike Tyson, and my stomach's starting to hurt. I'm feeling kind of queasy. There's a lot of studio lights. It's hot. I'm uncomfortable. Not an awesome situation overall, right? Then she's like, she comes back in the room. She's like, you have 30 seconds to finish your makeup thing before you go out on the stage. And I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. I still have no idea what I'm doing. So the last thing I had to apply was the mascara. I go, they give this little tiny tube. I try to put the mascara on, jab myself firm in the eyeball. That's end of that. Like, I literally just right in the eyeball. Start sobbing tears of being stabbed in the eyeball by a mascara brush. And just, it literally, everything goes to pot from there. Because my eye was so bright red that it looked like I had had conjunctivitis for like the last like month. All of the makeup on the right side, gone. Just besides the black on the top and the pink and the blue, just a mess down the side of my face. So I try to like scramble to get it off my face, and then I try to put the mascara back on, and the lady grabs me by the arm. She's like, you're first, and I'm like, awesome. And then she parades me out over to the door, and she's like, okay, now don't be nervous, just walk down the runway. And I'm like, I should just jump out the window. This would be a good point to end it. So get thrown out into the runway thing. It was about 7,000 degrees in that room. I don't know whether they just decided that they didn't need air conditioning, or that the air conditioning would somehow reduce the quality of the makeup. I don't know what they decided, but it was probably like 1,500 degrees in there. So I'm walking down the runway. I can't see. I see the CEO lady. I'm like, cool, thanks for letting me wear your makeup. It's awful. I'm walking down the little runway thing. Everyone's staring at me. I'm sobbing out of one eye. I can barely see walking down. And at that point is when the cramps started to get really bad. I started to see little spots, and it was awful. So I'm starting to feel pretty miserable. After I do my little once up and down the runway, they have me sit in the front row, right in front of the CEO lady giving the spiel. I just sit there for, I kid you not, 2 hours while this lady gave me her how I became a millionaire spiel. Just looking at me like I was this like prodigy, whatever. I think those things mean two completely opposite things. Prodigy, I think, is the word I was looking for. Like I was just her prodigy, and that I was like gonna be the next millionaire, and I'm just like, I just want to go home. That's all I want. And all this time, at the time I was in a long distance relationship, so we texted each other a lot, and my ex was kind of a really overprotective tool bag, and like just super would freak out every time I would say anything moderately like unfortunate was happening to me. So I'm texting him like under my chair while the CEO lady keeps walking back and forth like I want to go home, and I think the last thing I sent was, "It's really hot." And then he asked something like, "Are there any windows?" And all I sent back was, "I can't see." I just meant I couldn't see any windows. But my phone just starts ringing off the hook like 7 or 8 times. I'm sitting in front of the CEO lady, so I'm like, don't pay any attention to my phone ringing, please. And it's him trying to call me, letting me know that he has tried to dispatch an ambulance to my location. He is more than halfway across the country. He is literally like 4,000 miles away. I'm really bad at estimating distances, obviously. But literally just as far away from where I am as possible. Trying to dispatch an ambulance to come get me, and I have no idea where I am. So I call him, I'm like, "I didn't mean I can't, like, see. Like, I just blacked out. Like, I mean, I can't see if there's any windows that are open. Like, calm down." So that's the tip of the iceberg. So at the meantime, I'm also texting my mother, like, "You were right, this was an awful decision." And she's like, "I'm sorry, haha." And like secretly, I'm sure she was like, "LOL, told you so." Because that's my mom, like 100%, by the way. You have no idea. So, anyway, it's now like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I just want to go home. I made a really bad choice. I'm hot. My stomach hurts. At this point, the stomach pain was ridiculous, and the bloating was so bad, I looked like I was 9 months pregnant. I was the next Virgin Mary. When I arrived in that building, I was not pregnant, and by the time I left, I was getting ready to give birth. I'm not kidding. I had the full, like, pregnancy belly. My stomach was so distended. I am sweaty. I've been stabbed in the eye by a mascara stick. I'm wearing black, I would like to reiterate, I'm wearing black eyeshadow to make a ring around my eyes. If you will, just picture that. Finally, we get to go home. After sitting there listening to this lady talk for like 2 hours, we finally get to go home, and all I'm thinking is, I will never, ever, ever make a mistake this bad again. Finally, this lady starts dropping all these people off on the way home. It's another 2-hour car ride home, asking me how my time was, and eventually it's just me and her in the car. And I am just sitting there. I've taken off my belt, I have taken off my heels, I look like I've been in a fist fight, I'm sweaty, I'm now 9 months pregnant, apparently. I am so grumpy and so unhappy, and this lady is like, "So did you like that? Did you like the demonstration? Do you think you have a future in this company?" And I'm like, I could kill us both, and no one would know where we are. Just take me home. And so I finally get home, and this is the best part of everything. I finally get home. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning, and my mom has been texting me this whole time. So she's waiting for me at the little door, at the front door, and I get home, and she just starts laughing, just laughing at the atrocity that I am. 9 months pregnant with a fiber child. Black circles around my eyes. Giant black. I look like I used one of those gag binoculars that when you look through them it leaves a black ring around your eyes. I look like that, but on both sides. One eye just red from where I had stabbed it. Just black tears running down one side. On the verge of a breakdown because of how awful my evening has been. And my mother just loses it. Just loses it. And to this day, she's like, "The only thing I regret is that I didn't have a camera to take a picture of you when you came home." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so sweet, Mom. That's awesome." So the moral of this story was, if you think something's a good idea when you're 17, it's not. Also, never eat Metamucil fiber cookies, cause you'll regret it immediately. Maybe not immediately, but you'll regret it like an hour or 2 down the road. And also, never take anyone's advice on makeup unless you trust them and you know them very well. So anyway, this has been my embarrassing story of the day. I hope it was as exciting to you as it is to my parents when I tell this story, like every time we have a family gathering. Next time, I'm gonna start doing these vlogs again, and next time I will actually have a theme or a topic. I just didn't have a theme today, so I figured I would tell you a really embarrassing story from my past. So, with that, I guess I don't have anything else to say, so have a lovely day.